been an incredible week. But my heart rate has never gone up like it is right now. I'm not being funny. The energy that I feel, the nervousness that I feel, I haven't felt that at this level. It's all because of you. This is something this is my home. This is my family. You are my family. I thank you for being here today. I thank God. I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for blessing me and saving me and giving me the privilege of coming and being a part of this community through football. And it's serious to me because that is and was and is my life. This is my life. My wife is from here. My children are from here. My community is here. My church is here. This is who I am and where I am from. And you are part of that. And I mean that, and I thank you for that. Secondly, I'd like to give and extend the most heartfelt, sincere thanks to the extraordinary ownership, of this team. Josh and Mitch, Magic. I know him by first name, so yeah, Josh, Mitch, Magic, Mark, David. I'm older than a lot of them too anyway, so. They are the ownership and the leadership of the Washington Commanders. And they've heard me say this before. I'm saying it before you on behalf of me and my family and all of the thousands of both historic, true Redskins, Commanders fans dating back 80 years. How many of you remember when you and your grandfather, who's no longer used to do it, man, my grandfather, he really loved this, and my grandmama, and man, my aunt, man, my mama, boy, man, my brother. I'm talking about all of y'all who have history way before me. They are the leaders of that team that your mama and them loved, taught you to love. That's special. And we appreciate them for the honor of recognizing myself and my family, and it means so much to us. Thank you, thank you. I want to say I appreciate them because of they're making an investment in all of us. This is our metropolitan community that the team, former and present, is very valuable to the success of a lot of people. And it gives me an opportunity, and it has given me an opportunity over the years, to take the resources, the influence, and the access to people and make a difference in people's lives. That's why I'm oversaying this about the importance of them versus what may have been in past. I want to say how much I appreciate all of the players throughout the history. As I see guys coming in now, Ray Brown and guys are coming in, and Theismann, and walked in with me. All of the guys who are here today means a lot. But all of the players that has ever played for this team. There's a gentleman named Dick Smith. His daughter told me last night, he said, my dad wore, he's 85, I'm not sure how old he is, but her grandfather, and he wore number 28 first. And I said, well, tell him we're retiring this jersey tomorrow. I want to speak to all of you who are of the latter part of the Generation Z people. That is 93, 1 year after the last Super Bowl, to 2010. And to all of the Generation Alpha, who is, I think, 2010 to right now. You did not get to drink the good wine. And I want to say to you, I'm sorry. I want to challenge all of you to become those diehards that ride with us as we are coming back. This is your generation. We old guys, we had ours. But Jaden and Terry and little Mike, number 0, that's my guy. When he plays good, he's my guy. When he plays bad, I have to talk to him. But guys, let's get together and let's be fans and supporters and family of the new generation of the Washington Commanders. I want to introduce somebody who's very interesting. This story, even as backstage, someone said, man, I can never see that. Well, I grew up in Houston, Texas. And I grew up a few hundred miles from Dallas, Texas. Whoa. This is my show. I got this. And like all of you, we all had different heroes as you were younger. One of my heroes was a guy named Tony Dorsett. Come on. Tony Dorsett and his beautiful wife are very, very close to me and my wife. We move around this country together. We speak to kids together. We love that family. Tony Dorsett and your beautiful wife, will you please stand up? So Tony and Janet, we've known forever and ever. But Tony Dorsett was the guy that I caught in the first game, remember? But here's the deal. I'm literally famous from that time. Everybody said, man, you remember you caught Dorsett? Yeah, I remember. So guess what? My whole career is on top of Tony's shoulders. Because Tony was a baller, because if I'd have caught any one of y'all, they wouldn't have said nothing. So let's get it straight. Let's get it straight. Love you, man. Love you, Janet.
Darrell, when fans come to the stadium months, years down the line, and they see your name, they see your number in the stadium, what do you want them to think about or remember you?
When they named Route 28 with 100% vote in the State House in Virginia, Route 28, Loudoun County, Daryl Green Boulevard, I thought to myself, but this is a road that probably had slaves walking on it, that I'm alive, that they're going to say, as they drive down that road, and it's only about 5 miles, I think. As they get to 1 mile, oh yeah, Daryl Green, they talk about the touchdown, the running down this, that. Then another mile. I hope, used to say that, I hope that before they get to the end of that mile, 5 miles, they would ultimately say, man, but you know what, man, the guy was a great husband, support the community, he loved God, that they would get to the Daryl Green piece of me. So when they do that, and they got a whole 4 quarters to think about it, they will think about, man, that game and that game. Did you see him do that? And somewhere in that conversation, they're going to say, man, they're going to say this guy cared. They're going to say this guy took what he had. He took all this fame and celebration and resources, and he wasn't just chewing it up for himself and his own family, but he was giving it away. He was trying to make sure that that little boy was okay too. That little kid had mental health support. That grandmother could get some money in her pocket and get her nose paid. That little boy could learn how you don't have to do this and do that. You don't have to do, I don't do drugs, never in 64 years. Thank you. Never in 64 years. And I'm successful, I guess. I mean, I played in the NFL, I'm faithfully married. I'm not a drug guy. I didn't never have to do any of that, never. I didn't have to cheat on my wife. I have to smoke dope. You don't have to smoke marijuana. Hello? You don't have to get high. You can use your own mind, and God can help you. So that is what, when that flag go up, they talk, because I had a lot of years that they can talk about it, a lot of games. I'm probably I think I played more games on defense in the history of any defensive player. And I'm 1 inch taller than Chick Hernandez.
One more question, y'all.
I'm not asking.
Daryl,
Got it?
do you feel there's a different connection now with the new ownership to the alumni?
100. Daryl Green. Was that Daryl Green up there? Man, I don't feel it. I know it. I know it, and I respect these men very highly. And they don't owe me anything. I've told them that, but I respect them for sure. There's a completely different game that's on the ball right now.
Yeah. Can I follow up on one thing? Forbes is going through a tough patch right now. You know better than anybody what it's like to be on that island. What do you tell a young guy who's going through it right now, that position specifically, in terms of getting better and getting through a rough patch so you can get to the other side of it?
I think the key is he has to have been drafted based on some truths. And if those truths have changed, then we're done. If those truths remain, then you need to just stand on them. And that means his confidence in himself, his belief. Of course, he has to combine that with growth and support and all that. But I say, man, if that guy is there, because listen, cornerbacks are not made. The real ones, they're actually born that way. How can a little old guy like us play, get pushed down, knocked down, run over, they touchdown on you, they spin the ball, the crowd is cussing you out in New York or wherever. I shouldn't say that, in some city. But I love New York. But there's a way that in 20 seconds you walk from that end zone to your seat, and then it's like, what just happened? I don't remember. If you don't have that, which I believe he does, then you're in the wrong place. So that's a lot tonight.
Tonight, before we got rolling, I'd like to just acknowledge Daryl Green and getting your number retired. I got a chance to show a video to the team last night of him, and so many of these guys, like a lot of things, don't know that era of football, and to see that speed and that playmaking ability, just remarkable. And in fact, Doug had spoke on Saturday, and during the '87 season, I believe, a playoff punt return for a touchdown, and just the remarkable plays. So it's important to know where you want to go to know what's been possible here. And I think there's not many guys that represent what it can happen, on and off the field more than Daryl. So for him and his family and a jersey retirement, great way to honor somebody that's meant a lot to this franchise. I just want to acknowledge him before we got started. As we get going for the game, I thought, the message in this week, could we get stronger and find areas to improve upon to do that? And there were a number of them. We knew there was another gear for us to find, and we had to dig for it and find it. And I was pleased to see the fight, of what we saw, and the guys really starting fast. I thought Dante's touchdown was really the thing that set it off as they were driving down the field to go, create momentum for us on a really cool night, again, to honor Daryl. So with all that said, glad to get rolling with you guys.
Can you give us an update on Jaden?
I cannot give you an update on Jaden, but I will just as soon as we find out. We'll do some further tests tomorrow, John, and then when we get together in the afternoon, we'll give you an update. But I don't have anything for everybody else asking the same thing, same answer. So just wanted to make sure I was super clear on that.
When did you realize he was hurt?
After the first drive. And so maybe at the end of the first drive, right when we're down by the goal line, John. But it was into that space, throw, testing, tent, then to go inside. So that's when I knew. And I'll give you some updates just as soon as I find out tomorrow, but I do not have any tonight.
Do you know if it was on that 46-yard
I
run?
don't.
Okay.
I don't, but I do know it happened during that drive at some point, Nikki.
How do you think Marcus Mariota did stepping in?
You know what? I'm really proud of Marcus, and it's been tough start to it, IR and getting an injury. And so for him to come back and, see that kind of poise in the game, there was no flinch. And this happened early, after the very first drive for the offense, for him to go in and go. And I look back to see post-practice who's out on the field working, he and other guys going through the script. And so I tip my hat to he and Tavita and Dave Blau and others that are spending the extra time. So if your moment gets called, that you're ready to deliver for the team. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And he was able to do that tonight.
Dan, you mentioned Dante Fowler's pick six, but Emmanuel Forbes also with an interception. What does it mean to this team and this defense to have him come back from missing the game last week and have that kind of play?
Well, I think, number one, we're really emphasizing, finding ways to create takeaways. And I thought our offense did a good job of owning it. So it goes for us in all three phases. We knocked one out on kickoff, but we didn't get it. And but it, just the fact that we think about the ball, we talk it and live in it. So to come up +2, that's a big deal for us. And it doesn't happen by accident. You got to put the work in to do it. But we feel like we've got more space to grow in that area. If we can create possessions for our offense, that's the name of the game. But to finish +2 is a big deal for us.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. First week having to replace Jonathan Allen on the defensive front. Obviously, Johnny Newton kind of the main focus this week, but not just Johnny. How did you feel like the entire unit operated?
Yeah, I thought once we settled into the game, I thought the guys did a really strong job. We've got a lot of respect for their run game. And I think I might even talked about that interior and the running back and, the yards that he's had. So we thought that would be a challenge for us. We didn't have the performance that we wanted in the run game last week, knowing that was an excellent team in the run. So we really, pushed the guys into that space. We said, could we get stronger and find margins to do that on both sides? And so tonight, to be able to do that was important for us.
Coach, Terry McLaurin spoke about how this team has set for itself a standard and an expectation. Is that for real?
Yes, I'll talk about the first part first. We did create a standard as a team together, and that was from the players, and that began way back in the spring, the week before the draft. And we put some things down on paper of who we wanted to be and how we wanted to do business together. We felt it was important to establish that before those 20, maybe it was 24, 25 rookies arrived, to say, this is how we do things here at the Commanders. This is how we practice. This is the way you go. This is what you do for a walkthrough. And so having these guys get connected early, that was very important. So that's the standard. It's called the Commander Standard that they wrote together. And then expectation is just us constantly searching for improvement. And I think we're in week 7 or in that space, and we dug in just yesterday again to say we had some things that every player wanted to work on through the first 7 weeks, and into the next chapter, is that going to be the same thing or something different? So we love that we're trying to chase that hard to become better, and it might be as an individual thing, a small technique thing. So Terry's right that we work really hard at that.
Dan, I know you were in the middle of coaching the team. If there's any way to kind of go over the sequence of people that had to be involved in deciding whether Jaden could come back or not, and
Sure.
who finally said he cannot come back today.
Yeah, that's from the medical side, Dave. And so, with Al and the team doctors, so they were very clear in the communication. We warmed him up. He threw some. We took him to the tent. Then the next step was we're going to take inside and, get images there, and he'll do some more images tomorrow. But that's the process that it goes through. And the good news is that it was really clear. This is where we're at. So we had a couple guys. He went down. Brandon Coleman went down. Diami was able to come back. So that process, just like calling a play, is really important, because you have to go, if, for instance, on Brandon, it also goes to the special teams coach, on, PAT and field goal. And so the communication that has to take place on an injury, it goes all the way through. And so we've worked hard at that. It wasn't at a level that we loved during the preseason, and we got better at that as we're going. And so those are all things to grow from. And I was certainly pleased with the communication they gave me tonight, Dave.
Dan, why do you think it's important to show in things that happened here in the past to create the idea that they could be created to happen again?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think to go where you want to go, it's important to understand the history of the franchise. And although a lot of the players, didn't know Darrell or any of his speed, and they saw the one of him chasing down as a rookie, Tony Dorsett, and, it was overwhelming, the speed. And so just showing some of those plays, when I showed that, to get where you want to go, it's important to understand where you've been and what is possible in a career. And so not everybody's going to have a Daryl Green career, but it is possible to show the remarkable things that can be done both on and off the field. So it was just an easy way to, highlight him and show that. And quite honestly, we had about another 50 players that were at our walkthrough on Saturday. And I met so many players there on this alumni weekend. So to have those two things in concert was really important. I want them to know they're a part of helping this next generation of guys coming through, and we want them to be a part of it. And we respect the job that they did because it was at a world-class level. And so it was really cool for me to meet some of the alumni that came on Saturday and here for this weekend in specific.
Dan, you've preached from the summer on, or even before that, about the importance of consistency and being competitive. You guys have shown that week in and week out. To even teams that were viewed as like Super Bowl teams or struggle against maybe what Carolina is kind of right now. But you guys came out there, took care of business as you've done every other week. What does that say to you about where this is and their message getting through to the guys?
I think, and you know this, Ben, that's the central theme of our program is going to be competing. And sometimes it's competing really against yourself to see how good you can get. And other times, like now and during this week, could we compete to get stronger and find ways to get better and acknowledge that we've got work to do and stuff to hit on. And so although this game obviously was Carolina, we made it as much about us during the week of preparation as we could because we really wanted to dig in on ourselves and find the next gear and find the things that we can do. And so it just so happened that a moment like tonight where Marcus steps into that space, I wasn't surprised that he performed well because I see kind of the extra things that he does, but it was good to see that confidence back in him and to see the joy on the sideline for him because everybody feels his support. Not just Jaden. Everybody does. And he's got that kind of impact about him. He's been through it. He's got his own journey. But he's a really excellent teammate, and the guys feel that.
You've talked about when guys have been hurt, we're not going to put somebody out there if they can't go full bore. Does that go quadruple for number 5?
It'd be the same as everybody. Yeah, so if he can go, then that would be the case. And if he can't, then we won't. But we won't put he or any other guys into a space where they could jeopardize something. So I don't have any information, like I said, medically. So please don't speculate on that.
Take 2 more. Coach, how big was it to get Brian Robinson back today?
It was big. You just feel his strength, and the pile moves forward. And it was the right call to hold him last week. It wasn't the easiest call. It was the more difficult right over the easier wrong. Because he wanted to go, but he wasn't himself in terms of what he could do. And so I felt early on in practice, even though it was hard not to have him last week, it was the right decision. And it was great to have him back out there today and get him back into his space and going. It was really important for us.
Yeah, with Marcus, he missed on his first couple passes. When did you start to see him maybe get a rhythm going? Was there a particular play or anything that stood out to you?
I don't know. It's a good question, John. Maybe that'd be a good follow-up for me for tomorrow. I agree early on, you got to get into the rhythm of the game. And so if you miss a couple early, that's okay, and he uses his legs, obviously. And just like 5 in the early part of it, we said, remain a passer and find some spaces down the field. So I feel like that would be one of the things that I know, he'll want to work on. But, man, you feel his speed, don't you? And just his legs. And so although he's played a while, there were some plays today that you felt his speed. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good afternoon.
What was your reaction? You saw Jaden come off the bench area and started warming up. Kind of what was going through your mind?
First and foremost is his health. You worry about him, and you just want to make sure he's good. And then from there, it's football. It takes a little bit to kind of get your feet going and all that. But yeah, you just think about the player first, and then from there, you just go out there and try to execute.
Did you talk to him at all and just find out how he's doing and what's going on?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, it's going to take some time, whatever it is. We have no idea. But I think he was in good spirits. And for the most part, you just check on him, how he's doing, and we'll take it day to day.
And then for you, like you said, it takes a minute to get maybe some of that rust off. What really helps settle you down?
The guys. We have an unbelievable group of players that we talk about all the time. We have a brotherhood here, and it's very unique, something that is very different from other teams that I've been on. And just that kind of belief in each other really settled me down. And from there, just went out there and played.
The offense, without Jaden, you stepped in. It seemed to just keep going well. How did you kind of feel about the game plan today, and what ultimately was just working for you guys?
Cliff and the crew did an unbelievable job. They put us in really good spots to go out there and make plays and execute. Guys did a great job of getting open and finding ways to get yards. You always feel that you leave a little out there, but I thought our guys did a great job kind of all day of executing.
Comforting with all the prep that you guys have done with Cliff to be able to come in there and take the reins really without flinching.
Yeah, and it's really the entire staff. Tavita, Coach Blau. It's funny I call him Coach Blau, but he's younger than me. But it's like I said, it's an unbelievable group of guys that day in and day out, we're always just trying to find ways to get better. And when you have that type of atmosphere, you feel very confident when you go into a game, and that was no different for me.
Marcus, you hadn't gotten a chance to really come in and take over a game in some time. How good did it feel to just shred a defense?
It was fun to play and that's one of those things. You grow up playing the game because it's fun, and it's kind of been like this for me. So just to go out there and play and to have fun was just refreshing for me. And like I said, we have an unbelievable group of guys that just make it fun, and I think that's really for me kind of the biggest difference.
I was just about to ask you, you just said that this was different if you can take the winning part out of it. What exactly is different about this group?
Man, it comes down to guys just enjoy being around each other. Guys hang out in the locker room. Guys are enjoying going to work. It's a tough sport we play. There's a lot of pressures day in and day out. But I think we have such a good core group of guys that understand that. And when you step in the building, man, it's enjoyable. It's fun. And when you have that type of atmosphere, everyone is just kind of going in the same direction. It's really cool to be a part of.
Marcus, thinking about that, you're 5-2 on top of the division. Like, what's possible for this team?
Tomorrow. And I think that's the beauty of it. Coach Quinn talks about it all the time. We're just trying to get better every single day. And that's all we can control. If we just focus on that and we just keep stacking these days, when we pick our heads up in January, I think we'll like where we're at.
Marcus, when you're the second quarterback to come in, you had a couple design runs where you took some decent shots. And are you cognizant of like what kind of hits you can and can't take, or can you not think that way? Meaning, if you leave the game, now you're on to QB3.
I think for us, it's just got to go play. I think what's most important is just getting settled in and playing. And for me, it's playing that way. I've been in a variety of different offenses, but this one's been really fun for me because I get to do that and I get to be a part of the game. When you're sitting under center and you're handing the ball off, you kind of feel a little distant from it. So for me specifically, to be able to get some of these design runs, you feel like you're part of the game and you can kind of get into a flow. So you don't think about those types of things. Again, we're very confident in our quarterback group. And Jeff, if need be, would have been called on, he would have been just fine as well. So that's the beauty of what we've built here, and day in and day out, it's fun to be a part of.
What, if anything, changed about the game plan when you went in?
Nothing too specific. Really, when it comes down to it, it's just trying to execute what the game plan was, and nothing for us really changed. And what's very interesting for me is kind of day to day during the week, we as a quarterback group are talking about situations and scenarios all the time. So regardless if it's me, if it's Jay, if it's Jeff, or even Sam, like we all kind of have an idea of what this is supposed to look like. So when we can just step in, we understand what the plan is, and we can just go play.
Can you share anything specific that Cliff or Tavita or Blau said to you or helped you to prepare this week?
Yeah, it really comes down to just kind of day-to-day stuff. Specifically for me, We talked about some of the empty formations for us, and we felt like we could kind of attack them. It kind of happened that way a little bit, especially kind of when we got into 2-minute. But it's like little things like that, you know, and it's going to be different week to week. Cliff and those guys do a great job of, hey, where can we attack these teams? Where can we create matchup problems? And for us this week, it was one of those things. And guys made plays, and especially right before half, to put together a drive that we did, I think kind of just created energy and got us going.
As you kind of, go ahead. It might be hard in the moment, but as you look back to kind of the start of training camp when you were getting a lot of reps with the first team, or you and Jaden were splitting reps, do you think that kind of helps you as you're kind of making the transition here and coming in for Jaden in terms of being on the same page with everybody?
Yeah, for sure. Reps are kind of the mother of learning, I feel like, especially for me. So to be able to get those were very valuable, and I think that's probably why the transition seems so seamless today.
Just with at least a little bit of uncertainty with Jaden, does that change anything for you tonight, tomorrow, as you get into the week?
Not at all. Not at all. I just focus on what can we clean up from this game, what can I do to be better, and just approach the week just as we have, and go back in there on Monday and do what we got to do to get ready to go. Appreciate it, Marcus. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.